Are you ready to level up your journey? Welcome to Get on Top, where we dive deep into the riveting tales of self-made entrepreneurs and corporate titans who have scaled the summit of success. Get ready for a roller coaster of insights, inspiration, and a roadmap to elevate both your mindset and your life. This is Get on Top with Morgan Browne. Well, Ariel Swan, thank you so much for being here on Get on Top. I am so excited to talk to you. I was just saying to somebody earlier, I was like, it was hard to find information about you.
That's awesome.
Like I was having a hard time. I was like, what? And I'm like, I get to meet this woman that has created such an incredible brand and such an incredible movement, I think, in Canada and specifically in Vancouver in general and Toronto. And I'm just so excited to dive in with you.
I'm really happy to be here.
Yay,
so thank you.
so
Thank you for your kind words. I'm still learning to receive. So
I'm going to be pushing it off. So I think what I'd love to start is with your origin story. Like, tell me all about you, because I can't find anything. I want to hear where you were brought up and where it's taken you.
Yeah. I'm from Vancouver.
Okay, great.
So born and raised in Vancouver. It's actually kind of funny. My grandmother was actually born in BC, so which is like a very interesting. Obviously, we are not origins of BC, but it is have been here for a couple generations. My mom's from England. She moved here when she was 2. My mom and dad were both like in the acting world. So my mom was an actress. My dad was a director and taught acting.
Wow.
They were young and in love, and I guess like had me.
Had babies?
Yeah. Had babies, had myself and my sister. So there's 2 of us. Really artistic family, like super artistic family, which is amazing. And really just grew up in Vancouver. So mainly the North Van. My parents got divorced when I was 6. So I grew up with my mom. My sister grew up with my dad, which was like really interesting.
Wow,
a lot of the time, like, you don't have kids split, but it was just kind of what we wanted at the time. And I think my sister and I went through a very interesting journey of like not being raised together and having this like crazy competition and all this different stuff. And now we're ending up being like best friends. So it's been like a beautiful journey between the 2 of us.
What's the age gap between you guys?
17 months.
Wow. Oh my God. Like really
close.
So like twins almost.
Almost twins. And that's the thing. Sometimes people can't tell the difference. Therefore, she has like blue eyes and she's got a lot bigger boobs than me.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of look different. That's good.
Way.
Yeah, exactly.
So she ended up being an actress, which she's very successful. I'm so proud of her. So
amazing.
Yeah. So I'm actually from here and have been mostly living in Vancouver. My whole family wanted to be actors. I was the one like black sheep, I guess, and wanted to be a dancer, and decided pretty young that like that was what I wanted to do. So ended up being a professional dancer until I was 30.
Wow.
Didn't go to university, and decided to dance on cruise ships instead. So really see the world. You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about resilience. This is obviously like, I mean, I'm old, so this is before we had a computer,
right?
But there was like no smartphones. You were getting off the boat. You were getting a phone card and like waiting on your payphone to call your parents or your friends. So definitely a different world of really being disconnected from your normal life. So I learned a lot during that time, and then was a professional dancer till at 30, taught dancing, and then moved into more Pilates yoga after that, and
moved back to Vancouver.
Moved from like dancing. I was from dancing into Pilates. Amazing. And like yoga. I was teaching Pilates. When we kind of get into the story of like Jaybird, like I had a really bad back injury when I was younger. Was told that like if I continued to dance, I probably wouldn't walk by the time I was 60, and started doing Pilates. And I'm fine. So it made me really believe. Like, not fine. Like I still had to quit. I mean, I didn't say have to. I chose to quit dancing professionally at 30 because my body wasn't really like handling it anywhere, and I wasn't progressing. And the world was saying like, it is time to stop. And it was telling me it was time to stop for many years, and I wasn't listening. So it's sometimes you just got to really get hit with it many times until. But yeah, so I found Pilates mainly just to help me with my back injury and create a stronger core. And I fell in love with it in yoga. And then that's kind of how I found my journey to
Jaybird.
Jaybird, yeah.
So obviously, like, that is a huge story. It's such a beautiful, and it seems like it just really brought you to the where you are today. How many years did it take, or how many years were you like teaching Pilates before you decided to say, hey, like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to go on my own. And what was the thing?
So funny enough, I didn't want to open Jaybird originally.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was in LA and so I met Barbie, who's my co-founder, and there would be no Jaybird without Barbie.
Yes.
So I am the luckiest human. She's the business side. I'm so amazing with branding and like everything. I'm more of like the product side, created all the classes. She's CEO. I'm more in product side. So without Barbie, like we are a perfect match. And I will always tell people like find the person that complements you because like not one person can't do everything if you want to scale to the place that we're scaling. And also you're not good at everything and you don't like it. Like she's always like, I'm like looking at P&Ls and like spreadsheets and all this stuff. I'm just like, oh, but she's incredible at it. So I started I probably started teaching Pilates when I was in my early 20s. Okay. My best friend at the time, Rachel Wainwright, owned a studio called Exhale, which was in Yaletown, and she needed Pilates teachers. She's literally like, if you do your training, you will teach. And funny enough, I actually started teaching before I finished my training because she had no teachers. So I just jumped in and started teaching. And that kind of led. So I was teaching through the whole time dancing. And then I started working. Barbie brought Lagree to Vancouver.
Yes.
She was Googling like who's the best, her story is she was like, who's the best Pilates teacher in Vancouver? It was my name came up with a couple others. I joke that she took me on a blind date and we like went to a coffee shop in Yaletown and she's like, I want to do this. And I said, well, I want to see what it is. And and there were some things I was like, well, I believe with this method, it needs more of this and da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
So I was her first employee. And at Lagree, so I was her first like master teacher, or master instructor that she calls it. And before she had any other employees, and then went from there. And so while I was doing that, Barbie was building Lagree, and I was like helping her, taught me so much, and it was just such a beautiful thing to see build. My sister got what we thought was going to be like the role of her lifetime, and they were shooting in Hawaii. Okay. And my sister has this dog, and if anybody knows Surnda, his name is Buddha. He's no longer with us. Was her best friend, and like he's the best.
R.I.P.
So
R.I.P. doggy.
I know. So she couldn't take him to Hawaii. So I had this like decision, like, okay, like what are you going to do? And so I moved to LA to take care of the dog because I was like, this is the biggest opportunity for her. And it was something that actually looking back really brought my sister and I closer together.
Wow.
Because it was sort of just like, you know what, I would hope she would do this for me. And it was such a big opportunity. And while I was there, I was taking some classes. And there was a studio down there that had some things that I was like, this is super interesting. So Barbie had actually come to visit me to go to Coachella, and I took her to the studio. And I was like, you should do something like this, like, you know, with like butt Pilates. And like she had kind of seen it. And then she's like, oh, well, we should do it. And I was like, oh, no, like I don't want to open a studio kind of at first. And I had seen like my best friend, Rachel, who had kind of got me into it. She had struggled and ended up selling her studio, and she was very successful. It just like she lost herself in it. And I was like, oh, like I just don't think I want that. Like, you know, I was just like, I guess I didn't know what I wanted. And I also think that you have such strong ideas in your mind of what you think, who you think you're supposed to be, what you think you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to end up with. You actually limit the possibility. Like in my mind, I thought we would have one studio in Vancouver and that would be successful. And I was like, I don't want to be stuck in Vancouver. Like and sorry, everybody in Vancouver, I don't mean that in a negative way.
No.
But I just was like, oh no. And I couldn't.
Your soul was supposed to be in different places.
Yeah. And also like, I just couldn't see the possibility. I didn't even fathom that it could be bigger than that. And that's the beauty of Barbie. Like she is the one that sees so much possibility.
The expansion.
And she's the one that like, you know, went to Ivy League business school and is the one that's like, no, like you need to do this if we want to go anywhere. And of course not. So she was like, laughed at me. She's like, we're not just opening one, Ariel. And she had obviously, and we spoke a lot together about like, I'm really passionate about mindfulness. I learned to meditate when I was 6, and she was like really starting on this path. And just this idea of Jaybird came together. And then I started feeling like, wow, actually, this is something I really want to offer the world. And honestly, I'm sure Barbie probably who knows? Maybe Barbie could have done it without me. I don't know. Maybe it'd be different. But
this is fun.
At the end of the day, I said yes. And I also at that time was saying, so going to LA to see my sister, I was more afraid to do that than I was to stay here. And I was at this time in my life when I was saying yes to everything that made me afraid. And Jaybird was the one thing that I was almost too afraid to say yes to.
Wow.
And that's when I was kind of also came up to myself and had to have a little conversation with, you've committed to doing this, and are you too afraid because your mind is telling you, that's not what you want, that's going to hold you or whatever. Or are you too afraid because deep down you actually want it so bad that you're afraid to fail?
And what made you jump over that? What made you get past that, and jump into what you're doing? Because you're like, am I afraid to do it? That fear, right? That you're taking into it. What actually pushed the button? What were you like, okay, let's go for it, Barbie. You and me, we're gonna do it.
Well, I think I knew she would do it without me.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would have. I think she would
Yeah.
have. I feel I think she saw the vision, she wanted to. I had given her I'd kind of been you should do Pilates in a dark room and blah blah blah, and then she really was. We were both talking about the mindfulness, and it wasn't it was necessarily it was only that I had been in LA and had seen a room, and I'm I feel like there's nobody's really doing Pilates or yoga. We could do this better and in a different, and then add mindfulness and blah blah blah. And that wasn't just me, but that was her and I together with the whole mindfulness, and so much of the concept she was a big part of as well.
Right.
But I think I part of it was, am I going to regret not doing this?
Wow. Yeah.
Am I going to regret it?
Of course.
And am I going to look back and say and I knew that there would be way more growth, as a person in this, because I was really afraid. And I think there was a lot of things in my life that weren't clicking at that time, and that I was forcing. It was sometimes you start, and I thought I learned that when it took me 5 years too long to quit dancing. But as I'm a person, when I think I want something, I'm just get really determined, which is a really good thing. But it's also not when the world is kind of, and you're not able to see when it's come to a close, and you're just forcing this idea of what you think you want rather than allowing magic to happen.
Yeah, you have to allow and take that deep breath and just allow it to come in. The best types of businesses are the ones that you take a moment and you realize, if I don't do this, then someone's either going to do it or someone's not going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And that possibility is really what brings you to the next level. You talk so much about movement and mindfulness, and I just want I would love the audience to hear why Jaybird. What was the thing? What was the thing that really made it so different? And how did you kind of capture that into what it is today? It's so special.
It's a great question. I can speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barbie and I are very similar, but I'll just be kind of from the product side and my side.
Yeah.
I created classes that I wanted to take.
Yes.
That's at the end of the day. Every class is a class. I created all the classes. They're all classes that I wanted to teach and I wanted to take. And that I felt that for so long you teach somebody else's method or whatever. And I was just this is what I wanted. This is fun. And there, so and then the beauty is so many elements of my dance career and all these different things come together and it helps create this. And I was so afraid before we open, oh my God, are people going to like this? How about if it does? How about if people are just this is insane, we're in a dark room and that was kind of how the classes came to be. The room itself and the mindfulness Barbie and I really felt that there was this missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
The basis for me comes back to your physical body only exists in this present moment. Mm-hmm. So my arm cannot cannot be in tomorrow or yesterday. It's only your mind that has the capacity to live in the future and the past. So when you come back to the physical body, you come back to the present moment, and life happens in the present moment.
Right.
And this ability to create personal growth through movement is really impactful. It might just be getting stronger, or it actually might be finding a way to be more present and to sometimes shed whatever else is happening and be able to come back to breath, come back to body, and really at the end of the day, like come back to you, because so much of the outside world is telling us that we need to look different, we need to be different, we need to sound different.
Yeah.
And we get confused.
We do.
And we start to believe, like I said, like I thought that like I was supposed to be doing all these other like things. And like, and you get confused by what your parents said you were supposed to be and what your work says you're supposed to be. And walking into a room and stripping that away and just breathing and moving and feeling, like I think the capacity to feel is the most beautiful thing. Like it is the best gift I think we were given on this planet. And we don't feel anymore. We like most of the time we like push it down, say we shouldn't. We're in our heads like, oh, that's just sadness. It's not like, oh my God, let me like
live in it.
Live in this. Live in it. And then it moves and then you can move and then you don't. So Jaybird is a place that the main idea is just to like, personal growth through movement. And that can just look like so many different things. So for so many people too, there's no moment of pause.
No.
There's no moment to live in the in-between. And so we created this space where we kind of tricked you because people thought, like, especially at the beginning, they were coming for a Pilates class.
Right.
And we're like, find rest and meditate. And then at the end, you had to meditate.
Yeah.
And lie there and be with yourself.
Yeah, you kind of have to be there.
Yeah.
And it shows up in your experience in so many, from tip to toe. Like one of the best things about a Jaybird is it starts from the second you walk in the door. How did you figure out all those small details? And did you guys curate that together as a team? And because it really became kind of a rite of passage. Like every time you go into that studio, you're like, wow, the lights are down, the shoes are at the front. Like you're going into a space where it's warm. It's a whole experience. Like walk me through that creation. Did you guys sit down as a partnership and say, this is what, let's dream the dream and let's put it together? Or was it like, is there a connection there?
Yes. So most of it we knew was intentional. And then there are some things that we did. And now we look back at the science behind it and we're like, oh, wow, that's actually really smart.
Yeah. You're like, this really works.
Yeah, this actually really worked. So for instance, Barbie and I made a very strong decision that when we were going to come into the market, we want to come into the market at the top. For example, the biggest thing was design. Most studios you walk into, a lot less now, but when we opened Jaybird in 2019, everything looked like a Soul Cycle. It was very clean. It was very bright. Yoga studios, you usually had and there's nothing wrong with that. But for us, we're like, we're going to do this. We're going to come in and we're going to be to a place that's going to be hard to compete with and hard to copy. So we decided to spend extra money. We hired St. Marie, who had never done a studio before. We loved their design. They had just finished Savio Volpe and a bunch of stuff. And we're like, and so we hired them. And we wanted to, the minute that you enter, it's like it takes you outside of what's normally happening in your everyday. So you're kind of walking into a new experience.
You kind of have to shed it. You're like shedding yourself before walking in. Yeah. It really feels very, very intentional.
It is.
It feels that.
Yeah. And then like the smell, like there's a specific smell that you get when you walk in and that like, people will be like, during COVID, people were just like, oh, can we have candles? Like, I just need the smell. Like they'd put the candles on and we would do like like if I'd be teaching online, they'd like set it all up. So they had a room with like candles and they're like, so they knew that they could have the Jaybird experience. Inside the room itself, we based a lot of things that we were doing on neuroscience. So like if you're looking at the neuroscience of like darkness, darkness, it forces your brain, like parts of your brain to turn off. So that actually like creates the ability to feel more because you can't see as much, you can feel more. And so just by doing that, it also has people like you let go of your inhibitions in a dark room. You'll breathe louder, you'll move bigger. No one can see you, don't care as much. That's part of the reason we don't have mirrors and it's only lit by candles. Barbie and I also like were really feeling that in the fitness world before we opened, there was so much comparison. And it is either comparison with yourself in the mirror or with another person in the class. And comparison actually goes both ways, which is something that like we talk about a lot at the beginning of Jaybird with my teachers. And it's, you can be a person that can walk into a room and you can compare yourself thinking like, oh, I'm not as good as the person next to me. But there's also people that go in there and they're used to having the mirror and showing off, and that is a way for them to feel better about themselves. So it can go both ways. And when you make the room dark, you're actually taking away like both
of those
them.
things.
So that's what's like really interesting. And so a lot of people ask me at the beginning, like, well, how are you going to keep people safe? Like, it's a dark room. How are you going to keep people safe? And one of the things that we've realized that is that without this level of comparison, people listen to their body so much more. When you're not watching someone next to you thinking, I should be that deep in a lunge, you don't need to do it, because we use like sensation-based cues. So we're telling you a lot of the times what we want you to feel. We don't have specific names for like a pose. It's like, just reach your arms up, bend into your front knee. You want to be feeling
simple.
blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, I'm feeling that. And then obviously the teachers are looking at the room, and if they see alignment misses, they'll cue to fix it, or sometimes go over and give a gentle adjustment. But it was shocking the level of people pulling out of shapes when the lights aren't bright and they don't feel the need to be in competition with like themselves in the mirror or with the person
That's so
next to them.
fascinating.
Yeah.
That, like, you're actually, because you're so much more comfortable in your own space. And I think that you actually listen better. Like
100%.
when you're listening to the instructor yourself, like giving those cues, all the lights and the music, like you guys have something really different. Like, talk about the music into this space, because I feel like that's a big difference in your competitive market. Right?
Well, there's two things. You actually hit on the listening thing, which is really, this is when you say we did some things intentionally and some things non-intentionally. So we didn't realize, okay, when we're talking about your body living in the present moment, right? So all of your senses are things, if you have different kinds of meditation, you can actually like meditate on just hearing. And it's a way that will bring you back to the present moment. We'll be in conversations and you're already thinking about what you're going to say next, or you're thinking about like, okay, I need to do this. A lot of people don't actively listen anymore.
They don't.
So what we didn't realize, and this is actually, Barbie, I'm sorry, but I'm going to call you out because it's true. We figured this out because of Barbie. Yes. She kept going to me like, it was confusing. And I'm like, I'm in this class and the cueing is not confusing. Like, I do not know like how you're missing this. And what we realized is that the minute she would let her mind start to wander to, okay, like I wish that like, okay, I need to put something here, or like, business mind, or even like tomorrow I need to be doing this.
Yes.
She would miss a cue.
Oh, so you're almost forcing yourself to get back down.
Because you can't necessarily just watch. You have to actively listen. And the actively listening is another way that you're becoming more present
and in tune.
And then with the music, because we move to the beat of the music, you need to be listening to the music as well.
Yes.
So the music, the beat is like, for me, I'm like, because I'm a dancer, like music is my life. Like it's like, so
that's one thing I did find about you.
Yeah.
Music is your life.
It's my favorite.
Which I love.
It's like my favorite thing. It's really like, I don't know what I would do without it. And I just felt like it has to be there. And moving to the beat actually does it. Like it can actually like release endorphins, and like there are other things that do like help, but it keeps people synchronized. And also it just is fun. Like it's fun. It's fun. Good music is fun. And it comes back to the feeling. Like music can allow you to feel. Even sometimes, like it's always like the joke is that everyone's like says that they go to Jaybird to cry. Like it was like the Daily Hive did that. Like it was a thing. They had like the best places to cry, and they had all these like benches, and then underneath it was just Jaybird. And people are like, what is this Jaybird place? Like, why are you crying in a yoga studio? And everyone just couldn't figure it out. Like you just have to go. But there is that ability to just like feel what is there.
Yes. And it's one of those ones that I think there was such an anticipation for it. In the city, they knew that it was going to be different. The location is incredible. Let's talk a little bit about that storefront hustle. Like, I mean, you guys really, like you touched on it with your being an instructor for another Pilates studio. Yeah. What have you seen and what have you learned from the last, oh my God, how long has it been? 2019, really? Since 2019 that you want to tell the audience about? Because I think people are right now, they're at the point where they're like, hey, maybe I should do something that I've turned my passion into a business. What advice can you give about storefronts? What is it that's the winning success, as it's not a small feat?
Don't do it for the money.
Don't do it for the money.
Don't do it for the money. Choose the right partner. If you're going to do it on your own, it's hard.
Yeah.
Hire the right people then.
Right.
You can't do it on your own. You can't. Even though our ego sometimes says we can, there's going to be a time where you're going to need to, but sometimes, things are always going to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I grown up thinking oh, if you set it all up perfectly, I think I had this belief pattern that if you're a good person, things are going to go right for you.
Yeah.
This world's fuck that.
Yeah. It's no.
It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. We're going to get a leak in the ceiling and have to close.
Yeah,
so, it's not always about you, Ariel, and how good of a person you are. There's lots of other people involved. But I think it's your resilience to continue if it is a passion. If you want to open a Pilates studio, or if you want to go into something that is say you want to go into making clothes, and that's right now is a passion project. Yeah. No, you're going to lose it.
Or personal training. I feel like that's a big one. Yeah. People are personal, but know that
you're going to lose it. It's no longer going to be your place of escape. It's now business. It's for me, it's very hard for me to go and I can't go and take a class and really enjoy it. I'm always have my business, my brain is always okay, how could I bring this to Jaybird? It's
so true.
Whereas before I used to just be able to go, even when I was teaching. It's going to be a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Those early challenges of starting that storefront, what was the biggest learning lesson you learned on that? Other than just, obviously that resilience side of it. What was one that just comes to mind that was just, wow, this is where we're really got our head in the sand here. I know mine. I mean, I feel when you start storefronts, you can have a big picture of it, but then after a couple, you kind of realize there's something that comes with that. What was that for you?
I think it is still, for personally, I'm still learning. I think being a leader is such a beautiful growth piece. And we're always learning to lead, and that changes as, you change. But I feel really I would almost say the same thing before. I think it's your capacity to deal with things when they get challenging. And so for me, I still teach and I still need to be able to walk into the studio no matter what else is going on in my life. And I have to show up in my very best way. And there is such a high expectation if you take my class. I can't have a bad class. And so I need to be able, I really had to learn for a personal level how I can take care of myself so that I can show up, because the expectation is really high. And for the first little while, I worked myself way too hard. I had myself on the schedule so much. And so when I left Vancouver the first time, I hadn't maybe done as good as a job to really train people to be able to be there. I just tried to do it all myself.
Right.
And then obviously Barbie was doing the business side, so that was different. But just for me personally within the studio, and because I would pull the highest numbers and all this, you feel responsible. And if somebody was sick and no one else could take it, I wouldn't just cancel the class because I didn't want to let the community down. I would teach it. But what I've learned is I actually will let the community down more and I would let myself down more. And someone once said to me Ariel, you are the soil. If you dry up, nothing grows. And I was so dry, for a bit, and nothing, you can't continue to grow. You might be able to and the beauty of teaching is, and you'll see, I don't call teaching work. This was a big thing. So I'll never, ever say language is so important.
So important.
I would say that too, be really careful if you do open an industry, or a business that is something that you love. When you say if you are doing, so if I teach, I never say I'm going to work. I say I'm going to teaching.
Great.
Because if I say it's work, that can have a different intonation in our minds of what work means. And
so true.
Teaching is something that I love. And training doesn't mean it's not. And doing scheduling and dealing with whatever, all the millions of other complaints and bad feedback and this and that and, things breaking or whatever. But if I walk into that room with this intonation that I am going to work, I think you can very quickly lose the love for it.
And yeah.
And if you aren't able, if you continue to try to push yourself, that will become work. And then and if you're supposed to be a leader, now you're not leading. And so everything kind of starts to fall apart. So
yeah, I think it's a founder, you get kind of, you can either go two different ways. You can either be like the leader that is going to come and show up and do what you're talking about, which is just like giving it all your energy. And then there's the founders that are like, okay, well, this is my job. Like I'm getting paid. This is and make it part attached to that. And they lose really that, not only the passion for it, but the purpose for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even for myself, starting from one office to now we're at our 10th office.
Amazing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But every time I show up, I do it with so much energy. And I'll tell you, at the end of it, if I'm doing a talk or a speech, I'm pretty depleted. I'm like, it's like yourself. You're giving so much energy to so many people. But those mindfulness of like that resting.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? For me, it's like moving my body. It's like what you're saying, right? What do you do personally to fill that cup up and make sure that soil doesn't, get dry? I hate to say that. It sounds like funny.
It's so true. But it's
like,
actually,
what is
the
it?
thing is like what I so liked about that visualization was it was actually really interesting because some people say like, oh, you need to fill your own cup, blah, blah. And like, it just didn't land with me until my friend said it to me. And I was like,
I feel it.
Oh, like, and I think it only was because it meant that I could lose the company.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
definitely.
And that's like, I'm like, oh, taking care of yourself doesn't matter until you can actually lose your, like,
yeah.
And that's what, or like you would just be, and I don't like, and I'm still, don't like being bad. I don't like being bad at things. So,
There's a dancer in you.
Yeah. The perfectionist. It needs to be perfect. Working on that too. This is, so obviously like mindfulness practices is the thing and that is what I find one of the most impactful things for me. And I will be so honest.
Yeah.
One, sleeping.
Sleeping.
Yes.
I
love sleeping. My partner thinks I'm hilarious because
How many hours of sleep do you get? Do you like to get?
Like 8 hours.
Okay, so like a good 8 hours.
Yeah. I'm a great sleeper. I'm so lucky.
Are you?
I am so lucky. Like honestly, I feel so bad for the people. I just will like lie down. I can sleep and I'll sleep all the way through. Sleeping is really important for me. Also doing things like filling my cup can also mean just like, sometimes I don't have to I'm not a person because I love to sleep.
Yes.
That's going to wake up at 6 a.m. and journal and do these things. Like, honestly, I respect those people so much. And I think like right now, the way that culture is, it's like a lot of people are making you feel like you should be.
Well, I was just going to say that.
And it's like.
I was just going to say that. It's like, it's all over everything about one type of person.
Yes.
Of successful.
Yes.
To be successful, you have to journal. You have to wake up, do like a 90-minute Pilates thing
and like
do all this stuff. Journal, light a candle, blow it out.
And who has honestly like
drink water with Celtic salt.
I would say drinking water.
I do that too.
Having warm water, that's the only, but that's easy. And the thing is I try to tell people things that are like accessible.
Yes.
8 face skin routine. People can't waking up if you just had a baby. Like
I know.
You can't, and then people feel bad about themselves. And this is the like, and then, or they'll start it and they'll do it for a week and then let it go.
Yeah, not consistent.
Not consistent.
No.
And how are these little things like you can do that can make a big impact? And like, I always say like, what are the simple things where you can be present? So in Toronto, I take the subway because I take the subway. So
I love the subway.
Instead of sitting on my phone on the subway, I will just sit because I'm like, okay, I've got 10 minutes before I have to go to the studio. I could be trying to finish, like, there's no like, the email doesn't really work that way. You could maybe be looking at some like, or you're scrolling or you're trying to finish 10 things. Or I will just sit and just watch my breathing and just be really present and just like be not like, because people are like, oh, I feel weird closing my eyes. I'm like, you don't need to close your eyes to meditate, to be present. You can literally just like watch people, notice what's happening in your body, slow your breath down to calm your nervous system. Like we have tools. Breath work is so impactful. Like the most amazing thing is like just by changing the way you breathe can change what's happening in your nervous system. So if like you're feeling anxious, longer exhale than inhale, feel your feet on the ground, like be present, even just for like a few breaths, but we will like, so even something so simple like that when you're driving, just can you be present with your driving, like not trying to text or like all these things. And we have distraction in the palm of our hand all day long. And that's like also why we don't have phones at Jaybird. Like, it's an hour without your phone.
Huge thing.
It's
huge
okay.
Thing. And it feels like all of that electric charge is away from you.
Yeah.
Because everyone else's And then you're just so focused on everyone else. I mean, focused on the actual instruction that you're in that you really get it. But I love the idea of not just making it more of a habit.
Yeah. Just
so
simple.
you kind of fill that cup or fill that soil or make the soil less dry, wet the soil.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know. It sounds kind of weird.
I'm like, wet the soil.
The final thing I would say is just like, have fun.
Have some fun.
Have fun. Like, honest to God, like go out on a Friday and dance your face off. Like, go see your favorite DJ. Like, I'm 42 and I'm still out with the 20-year-olds.
Oh, we love it.
Whatever.
We love
like,
it. And it should be that way.
So go do the things that make you happy. Like, I was in Ibiza, like raging for like, like maybe not raging, but I went out 2 nights. But you know, like at the same time, like I love music, and so like
find
do
the things that you love.
And you know, it's so easy to be like, especially in the dark times in Vancouver and Toronto, it's hard. It's hard to go see a friend, but like connection is so important. Loneliness is honestly, they've proven like. It's like there are some studies, it might not be 100% true, but some people are like now saying like loneliness can actually be worse than drinking for you. Like,
I totally agree with
get
that.
it that like you don't need to drink to go out. I'm not saying that that's true, but I'm saying that like, you know, being lonely is we all know how it feels to be lonely, and that's really all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that like it takes a little bit of effort sometimes, and sometimes the more you don't go out, the more like harder it is to go out. And I think like connection can fill your cup, and
it keeps you grounded.
Yeah,
like I think that's where a lot of people are like just in this rat race, you know, to go through it. But it's so interesting to see how Jaybird has kind of brought people to actually experience it too, and to say, hey, you know what, guys, out of your really hard day, take a moment, right? And get back to those moments to stay grounded. Yeah. Fill the cup or do the soil, which is important.
Exactly.
But
you have to connect. It's like it's connection with self. Like we always say inside of Jaybird Room, it is a connection to self. Whereas like some workouts you can feel more like it's like a connection to community, but the energy allows that like deeper connection. There is so much, and like being in a room, like people are like, oh, well, why don't we just go do it online? But like there is something about human connection, breathing together, feeling together. At Jaybird, it's like dancing together. If you don't go out and want to go to the club, like dancing they have proven now that dancing is the best possible thing for especially for depression. Yes. It is better than any drug or anything if you can get people to dance. So like when we added that into the every Jaybird class, people were like, you guys are insane.
I love that part.
And I added it, I just chose, I was like, this needs to happen. And it was after COVID. I was like, people need more, we need to move our energy. And we need to get uncomfortable, and we need to like, it's fun. Also like,
it's so much fun.
We're taking everything so seriously.
I enjoy it. I feel like I do. I try to dance every day.
Yes,
even if it's just
that.
in my bathroom. Yes. Just kind of like.
No, that's amazing.
Like, come on, let's go. But I feel like we need it. We need this happiness. And I feel like in a place where you're instructing all these people. I mean, you've done stuff with Lululemon. You've done things with incredible companies. What are you seeing? I think one of the big pieces that we're seeing is wellness is changing like every day. Like 1 minute I'm cold plunging, the next minute I'm here. I don't even know. Red light therapy, like I'm all over them now.
So much.
And it's really becomes really, and I would love to know from your experience, because you've been in it for so long, where do you see it going? What do you see? Where do you see the future of wellness going?
Yeah, that's a
loaded question.
Loaded question.
Yes.
I'm going to give you an answer.
Yes.
But I'm also going to start by saying people need to listen to and they need to know what they want. So depending on how, like what you're looking, if you're going to want to run a marathon, like if you're like, then you're going to need a different training than if you like, depending on what it is.
Yeah. Toning's different than like
versus
muscle.
this muscle.
Yes.
If you want to be building or you want to be like, it's all different. So there's a couple pieces to this question. I would say one of the biggest things that we're seeing in wellness is this idea of like bringing mindfulness into wellness. This even comes for things like othership and like even the cold plunging. It's like we're seeing there's a lot of talk about nervous system, which was never really there before. So understanding how to balance the nervous system. This was something that Jaybird we didn't realize at first what we were doing. Even by starting and ending in rest, we're actually like bringing you back into more like a state where you're not super, super upregulated. I knew that when I was, and this is, again, there is nothing wrong with different styles. But for me specifically, I would take like a spin class and I would feel like I was so high for a certain amount of time. And then I would crash. And it was, because my nervous system just couldn't continue to run. Like I was like so much in this upregulated state. So we tried to like bring people down. I think the biggest thing that everyone has to remember is there's always going to be trends. Pilates is so hot right now. It is so hot. It was, and now there's a lot about like weightlifting and gains and like protein. And then it was like before it was like, so there's always going to be a trend. You have to listen to what works best for you.
Love that.
For me, like cold plunging, it is good to understand some of it. Just going in and being like it's a trend and doing it. I think that there's tons of benefits for cold plunging. Personally, because I put so much stress on my body, I used to love cold plunging. And like I actually used to go in the ocean like 5 to 8 years ago with my friend Michaela, and we would do it all the time.
Wow.
And then now as I've gotten a little bit older and I am in the heat a lot, this is like before Jaybird, I'm finding it more challenging because my body already has a lot of stress. It doesn't need more stress.
Right.
But if you are sitting all day and your physical body's not getting a lot of stress,
getting in a cold plunge and
waking you. Go. Like, so that's why it's like we want a pill that is going to give us exactly the body and the feeling and all these things that it wants. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
So I think the future is we're definitely seeing a lot more like running is really big right now. Pilates is really big right now. And the gym, like weightlifting is really big right now. I think it's really great for women to know that like it is important to be weight bearing. What you have to stand by weight bearing is weight bearing could actually still be like a plank. You are still weight bearing on your body, but it depends on
like a 3-pound weight.
3-pound weight.
Like small.
So it's like everyone is going to use everything is a propaganda in a way to get you. Like I could talk about these things to make you believe right now that Jaybird is the best thing for you to do.
Right.
And I could probably argue it with, I could probably also debate myself that, weightlifting is the best thing for you to do. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think we worry way too much about how we want to look instead of how we want to feel.
I love that.
So how would you change what you did every single day if you cared more about how you feel rather than how you looked? And I bet you 90% of people would change.
And actually be mindful of what it does, what it takes, like listening to your body.
Yeah.
Like it's actually crazy. I mean, I feel like everybody is trying to get on these trends and everyone's
100%.
doing different things. But I'm like, have you guys sat with it for a second and taken a minute? And how can you make that like next very small move, The wellness piece is really, and that's such a great piece of advice, is just to get back to you.
Yeah.
Get back to you.
What feels good.
What makes you, yeah, exactly.
People always ask me like, what else do you do? And I'm like, I only do Jaybird.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
you look amazing.
And I don't do anything else. But if I wanted to be like, if I wanted to be a lot like bigger with like more muscles, that's beautiful too. Doesn't feel good on my body. Certain things like spin I had because of my back injury. Some things I just can't do. So like, if like I'm taking a Barry's class, like super fun. But like if I'm on the floor, like I can't, like I'm going to go a little slower. There's gonna be certain things I can't lift as heavy. Like I just have to be mindful. Like, and that's the other thing.
F45 and all the different things. It's really about who you are. And one thing I find so interesting, and you touched on this lately, is just leadership. Like what you said about really about you changing as not only like as a human, really. How, what for that person that is just starting their company and just getting into and have never been leaders before, what advice would you give them? That leader that hasn't become a leader yet.
Barbie and I talk a lot about like the difference between compassion and empathy. I think when you're a new leader, you're very empathetic. You want to like get into the trench with the person and like try to like be there with them. When you start to evolve as a leader, you become more compassionate. And it's more kind of like this place of, you're not getting down there and doing that. You're giving them tools to pull them up and to hold them where like they need to be. But it's like more about like compassion than it is about empathy. And I think that is helpful because sometimes, or even in the compassion, they'll be like, oh, like they can't, I'm just going to do it. you know, like my team is overwhelmed. I'm going to do it. It's like, well, I'm overwhelmed too, but this is actually their job. And, you know, sometimes if the job's not a right fit, it's not the right fit. And that's okay too. And also I think that the more you fail, the easier it gets. And the more that you feel that, like, to me, failing is like sometimes the best thing that can ever happen to you, because like that's where growth happens.
It really does.
And I know I feel like I'm saying something that's like you've heard in every self-help book, but
No.
like it's, for myself, I was so afraid to fail. And that's like the perfectionist in you too, to not be perfect. And I think that you know, you have an idea of yourself, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Like sometimes we hold ourselves in these like boxes. Like for me, it's like, well, if I fail, then maybe I'm unlovable and I'm going to lose the company and I'm going to lose all these things. And it comes back to like looking at your childhood and like, you know,
all that work.
Oh, wow. And honestly, like sometimes holding possibility for people, but also knowing when it's not like the right fit. Barbie's better at me than me. I'm like I can be like, I'm still
like, I don't know.
I'm still working. I'm still working on that ability to, you know, really be for me not to try to do it all myself and get support.
Yes.
And also relinquish control.
Yes.
When you actually have the support, and to be able to like learn how to enable people's own power and own growth. And you're going to hire someone that's sitting in a job, in a position that's below you, that's going to be better than you at a lot of things.
You want that.
And you want that.
You want that.
Don't be afraid of that.
No.
Because if you don't have that, then, you know, like that's how you're going to continue to grow your business. And that's who's going to be your next level of leaders. Right. And
so intentionally, you're actually creating a culture to grow and to continue to build up at Jaybird, right?
And that's even that, like we're trying to open locations so that we can give our teachers the ability to grow too. Like, you know, I think like a growth mindset is one of our core values. Like we really believe, and like we always so say to them, like, you know, you can't offer anybody anything you can't offer yourself. So if you can't offer yourself a moment to breathe within a studio, know it when you're teaching. But it's the same thing in life. If I can't offer, you know, myself like kindness and a break, like how can I offer that to my team either, you know? So it's like you got to do the work on yourself.
You do.
And it's like
it's hard.
And it's really hard.
And your leaders really get something out of that, right?
Yeah.
They see that you're doing the work. And it sounds like you're intentionally trying to create a culture where people can't just settle.
Yeah.
They're really able to kind of say, hey, I'm going to really build in this company. As instructors as well. I mean, you get to and
you're going to make mistakes.
You're going to make mistakes.
You're going to make mistakes, but yeah, I mean, like we really are like it's like even like little things. Like I want to be a person that I always say to like my people when they get onboarded, like you know, come to us, tell us if there's something that's bothering you. We will always listen. We can't always promise that we're going to be able to fix it for you. But if we hear that you're talking about this and it's starting gossip, like that's something that we don't stand for.
No.
And so be very clear at the beginning, like what are
everybody?
And what are your, I'm sure for your companies, like what are the values that you know? And then if you state like you can set those at the beginning with them, and then there's no wishy-washy. Like if they're gossiping, you've told them very clearly.
Done.
That's it. Like we don't do that. You're out.
Get out of here. Yeah. It's causing too much.
Poison. It's poison. It will be poison.
Yeah, we always say that it's really the cancer in the company, right? And if we don't get rid of that now, it's just going to make things worse. Yeah. I mean, so much self-doubt comes into the play of owning your own business. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but you're like, I don't know if I can do this. And then having a partner that actually like helps you through it. I'm sure that's a big part of that, helping you get through that self-doubt. Is there anything else that you feel like you do whenever it creeps in? Or do you even have it anymore?
Oh no, all the time.
I know, right? It's just
like even being here, I was like,
I know,
why do
me
they
too.
Want to talk to me?
Oh my gosh. It's funny because I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, no one knows about her. She's amazing. Let's go.
Like, yeah, I think sometimes you have to sit back and like, I listened to part of the, like, I know Miriam Alden really well. And like, she was talking about like, oh, I'd like to tell my younger self, like, it's going to be okay. Like, And I think it's like not even like, for me, it's not even like telling your younger self. It's sitting and saying like, every single one of us have gone through really tough times in our life and have like come up against things that are huge. And we've been able to, maybe not you want to say conquer, but overcome or grow and learn from them. And so I think when you can start, when the doubt comes in, it's like, well, what is like at the end of the day, like you're gonna have you can't walk away. Like I'm not going to show up because I feel like how about if they don't like me? It's like someone is always not going to like you. Mm-hmm. Like I was such a people pleaser. I always wanted everyone to like me. When there was such freedom in like walking into a class and being like, 3 people in this class probably aren't going to like me, and it's okay.
Yeah, and that's such a good piece of advice. Like just letting acceptance.
And so when you accept that like not everyone's going to like you and like, and that you have done such hard things, you can do this too. You've gone through hard things being like, if you lost somebody in your life, like there's or it could even just be something as little as like, who knows what it is? That's the other thing. Like we like to be like, oh, my trauma is worse than your trauma. It's all trauma.
It's all trauma.
It doesn't matter like what it is, but we've all trauma. Yeah.
It's either a small T trauma or a big T trauma.
And it doesn't make that one T because something this brutal happened to you. Like, well, it was way worse what happened. It doesn't matter. You still have this like that's there. And so I think that sometimes we really do. I always like whenever I'm giving feedback or I always start like with like 3 things that you did really well. And the funniest thing is that like my teachers, I'll talk specifically about my teachers because this is like the way that we share feedback. So if I take a class with them, I'll always like sit down and say, okay, I want to hear 3 things that you think went really well. And then they will 90% of the time until they know me for a while, they will try to go to what's bad. And I'm like, if you don't celebrate what's going well, you don't embody it. You kind of can just, it's like you need to say like, I did this. Then it becomes like in you. It becomes real.
You're
like,
right.
If you just keep saying like, oh no, it's okay. It's like, it's fine that I did this. Like you don't get like.
You got to embrace it.
You got to embrace it. And then and then either you can enjoy it and you can be proud of it and like have that feeling of like, well, because sometimes you're going to work so hard. Like you open a studio and then you're like, I opened the studio. Like, and my partner said this, he hit this like crazy milestone for his work. And he looks at me and he's like, baby, we did it. There was no parade. He like sits at the top. He's a CEO of his company, like all this. He's like, I'm telling everybody else that like they are doing amazing, but like there's no parade for me. And I was like, so you need to be the parade for yourself.
You need to do it yourself.
Like, it's so hard for us. People around you that are gonna. So having a partner, like I can be like to Barbie, like I'm so proud of us, and she's like, I'm so proud of you. Like that's easy, but like he doesn't have anyone, and I'm like, I'll be your parade. It's like not the same, but it's being able to like really like
these milestones,
celebrate these milestones, and like really acknowledge and like the things that are going well, like. And not only just look at the negative too. And that's my like, I guess that's a really big thing for people. Yeah, like try your best to not just look at everything that's wrong because
there's so much that's good.
There's so much that's good. And there will always be things there's always things you can make better.
Oh my gosh.
You look at your company, I'm sure. And it's like,
I feel like
it's never ending.
It's never ending. But then I think you give it your all. You look back, and I love the celebrating because for so many years, a decade went by, and we're like, we're not even celebrating these things. Like, and they're little things. They're not actually even about us. They're about our people. They're about our realtors, our staff. And I'm like, we need to acknowledge this. Yeah. And then you start making it part of the culture. It takes some time to get there. Yeah. But I think for your own self, I mean, there's always a present there that you can buy yourself too. That's my piece of advice.
I love that.
Like, go buy yourself something. Even if it's like little, go buy yourself some Carmela candy.
Well, it's also just like, it can, or, like maybe there's that like one thing you've always like wanted. Put a thing when I do this, I'm going to go get myself that. And like for somebody, it might be a trip. It might be, a bag. Cause like, for me, it sounds like so cheesy, but like I grew up like without a lot. And like, I never thought I would own a Chanel bag. Yeah. And it sounds to some people would be like, oh, that sounds like so
nothing wrong with that.
Materialistic or whatever. And I had to kind of get out of my own way and be like, actually, this even though it doesn't matter to anybody else, like for me, it meant actually the most beautiful thing is my sister actually gave me my first Chanel, which was the sweetest thing ever. Yeah.
Your
she
sister
knew how much it like meant to me. But it was like that thing when I was just like, oh my God, I get to wear this. And I feel it just made, and it doesn't have to make any sense, you know, like, but I wasn't doing it because I cared what anybody else thought about it. I was honestly was something I never thought I was going to have. And then, you know, you're like, oh, wow, the little Ariel.
I know.
Oh, wow. You know,
it was so funny. I feel like I could talk to you forever, and I might have to come to Toronto to talk to you for part two, my part two. But thank you so much for being on the podcast. I wish we could go for further, but I'm going to do a lightning round with you.
Love this.
Okay. So what's one thing you start your day off with every day?
Every day?
Yes.
Warm water and lemon and breath work. Very small breath work.
I'm exactly with you.
Yeah.
Like you. I'm like exactly like I used to be that person that needs to like go
And let me just
it.
explain. Breath work does not mean you have to turn on app. It just means like literally take like 3 deep breaths before you get out of bed, before you look at your phone. That's like it.
Please.
It's just something that's like
enough to ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't all have a ton of time. And drink water. Just drink water.
Drink some water, please.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Okay. What would you be doing if you weren't one of the co-founders of Jaybird?
What would I be doing if I wasn't doing that? I started Slow Jam Sundays, which is music. So that was like, so probably would have done something that was like promotion music, something in that way. Maybe something through that. I also had a charity organization that I did called Feed the People that I started that. So I know honestly,
we didn't even talk about that. And I have
know,
so many
so
things.
Crazy.
I'm going part two.
So yeah, so that we didn't. So I think like maybe something in that, but like honestly, I can't. It's to be honest, I really don't like. This is me. Like that's the thing I said to you before. Like like I put those classes in. Even my partner is like, "What do you think you're gonna do after?" And I'm like, I don't know if I even would. Like, I don't know.
This is great.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see that for sure. What's your go-to hype song? Now I'm really wondering. I actually put SJS in my hand because I love it so much.
Go-to hype song.
People want to hear about this. What is your go-to hype song? Get people moving.
So so I have one song that I always use when I do like the huge dance parties. It's called Joy. It's by Baker Matt, I think. Okay. That would be like, it's not even, it's like, if that's my go-to hype song to get like everybody dancing.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. Okay. What's your guilty pleasure? The guilty pleasure. The one thing that.
Wine.
It's wine. I know. Me too. I don't know. I can't.
And I'm not going to lie. I feel like people lie on podcasts. They always say like, oh, my guilty pleasure. I'm like,
yeah. I know. It was like coffee. I'm like, it's wine.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I would be like, what's your wine? What's your guilty pleasure? Italy.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's
from Italy.
Portugal. I'm like terrible.
Yes.
I'm like, I go back to Spain we're Spain.
Yeah.
Okay. And now finish the sentence. To get on top, you have to
be yourself.
Love that. Thank you, Ariel.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.